goddess. So once again, this takes place in Santa Cruz. It's a few months after my Arkansas experience, and on this particular day, I can't remember where the instructions came from, but I remember I'd heard something about practicing the meditation of if you're walking along, just try to keep your gaze 20 feet ahead of you, not looking too close, not your eyes wandering all around. Just keep a steady gaze 20 feet ahead of you on the ground. You'll see any obstacles coming. You can use your peripheral vision to figure everything else out. And just try to stay in a zone looking at 20 feet ahead of you. So I'm walking along the trail on West Cliff Drive, west side of Santa Cruz, and I'm practicing this little walking meditation. I got a little tune I'm humming in my head, and I noticed in my periphery I see this the walking trail is kind of down and separated from the road by this, I don't know, 10-20 feet of ice plant, and it grows along the cliff there, and so anyway, out of periphery of my eye, I see somebody go by on a bike on the road, but then they stop and actually like climb through the ice plant. Don't even get to somewhere where there's a path, but they climb through take their bike down through the ice plant onto the walking bike path, and stand there at the rail looking out at the ocean. And it almost, even though I'm still maintaining my gaze, it's kind of the 20 feet thing, I'm absorbing all this from my periphery, and I'm kind of aware it's like, well, this person is almost like blocking my path here, right? And so I get up to them, and it's a girl, and she's dressed fairly frumpily, if you will, wearing like overalls or something, and very, yeah, you could say conservative. I'm more frumpy than conservative, but definitely not showing off anything. But she makes a point to stop me on the trail, and makes a pretense about seeing some sea otters or something out there in the kelp bed offshore, and which I was just like immediately aware of this. She's making a pretense to talk to me, and it just didn't quite seem honest, right? And she had a pretty face, but I wasn't really paying attention to her at all, and I was mentally I was just like a little bit off, because like I didn't understand why she had tried to introduce herself to me in this somewhat dishonest manner. Which maybe that seems paranoid or whatever, but just not every day that a woman introduces herself to me, to say the least. And so on this occasion, yeah, it just felt weird, and I didn't understand why. I still don't understand really why, but except for what happened next. So I keep it short. I say goodbye. She sticks out her hand. I stick out my hand. We shake hands, and I was saying goodbye. I practically already had the inertia, body inertia, carrying me away. So I just a quick but you know, firm handshake, I guess you'd say. And so, but as my hand is leaving hers, and you know, during that period when I'm rotating from 90 to 180 degrees away from her, at that same instant, all of a sudden I'm aware that, wait a second, something just happened. There was some really unusual exchange of energy that happened from that contact. And so, but I don't look back. I keep on walking. And I'm walking down the trail, and I get to this point where there's this little cove, and there was I guess there was a fairly good sized waves coming in that day, and in this cove, the way the waves were breaking and everything, the water in this cove was so aerated that it was completely white. It wasn't blue or gray or anything. It was white. It looked like milk. And so this is in Santa Cruz. You're looking across Monterey Bay over to the Monterey Mountain and everything, and it's not a snow-capped mountain or anything, but all of a sudden I have this vision in my mind with my eyes still open. It was really crazy. I mean, there's no drugs involved. I'm walking along, and this vision hits me, and I'm wow. So when I was 16 or 15, I made amino acids from scratch. I repeated the primeval Earth atmosphere experiment with the boiling water and electrodes for lightning and everything, and I learned how those amino acids form polypeptides, and the polypeptides become proteins, and you know, there's some say that's how life got started, at least at a physical level, even though it's really hard to explain how a gigantic DNA molecule forms in a pool of mud without a protective cell membrane. Anyway, I have this vision of life coming from the sea, coming from the foam in the sea, and Mother Earth giving birth to this life and nurturing it with her milk there in the sea, and also like but at the same time it's like the mountains are breasts, if you will, with the snow-capped mountains. I had this vision of snow-capped mountains with the snow being like milk running down a breast and nurturing and giving life to all the valleys and all the surface of the planet. And there was this amazing vision of life coming from the ocean, and this sense of Earth as a mother, as a personality, and with these weird things, aspects of the sea foam in the mountains, all this like being her body parts, metaphorically, and it was extraordinarily real, vivid, powerful, instantaneous, and simultaneously brief. Yeah, 10, 15 seconds, and there I was, more or less, walking along the trail again, with my mind completely blown by this glimpse.